So for this lesson, we are going to talk about earned consequences. Now, if you look at the Wiser Parenting Framework, this is the E in the framework. And this is a reminder that each of these letters really matters. But we are going to talk about earned consequences today. Now, the emphasis here is on the word earned, that these are choices that your kids have made to cross some sort of boundary, and these are the earned or natural outcomes of those choices. So one of the questions that we get a lot in the parenting world is it okay to let our kids experience consequences? With the positive parenting movement, we get told a lot that we should just ignore negative behavior and praise positive behavior. And we wanted to address this question before we really dive into the content. So we want to give you just a little lesson on brain wiring and chemistry and why the positive parenting discipline or positive discipline says what it says. So first of all, the way that our brain works is that whatever gets rewarded gets repeated. So memorize that phrase. Whatever gets rewarded gets repeated. Now, to our kids, any kind of attention from their parent is a reward. And so what they were seeing happening is that kids were using negative behavior and getting a ton of attention from their parents when they used negative behavior. And when they were using positive behavior, they got very little attention from their parents. So let's think about your life. And a real example from mine is that my daughter, when she was really little, she used to be very physically aggressive, and she would hit someone. And when she hit someone, I would get down close to her level and talk to her and get mad at her and maybe even pick her up and take her to another room. And all of that is a lot of attention. It's eye contact, it's one-on-one focus, it's physical contact. And all of that was rewarding her brain for that behavior. So if she wanted attention again, all she had to do was hit her brother again. So that is why they started to say, hey, let's start to ignore the negative behaviors and let's start to give praise and attention for the positive behaviors. And we are big fans and supporters of this concept 100%. But where we've seen things kind of shift is that we are giving so much praise for positive behavior that we are not giving any accountability or any consequences for negative behaviors. And that makes it so that our kids never learn that negative behaviors aren't okay. So when we teach you all of this, we are going to teach you how to give a consequence in a way that gives very little attention to the behavior, but still holds our children accountable for their choices and helps them improve behavior so that you actually like being around them a lot more and it's easy to be positive. Now, another thing that they were noticing was that our kids were starting to feel like failures. That there was a research project done where they interviewed a bunch of teens to find out how often it was that their parents said something positive to them. And the teens said, about 83% of them said, the only time my parents talk to me is to correct me. So that's heartbreaking and that's sad that the one person who should be able to see the good in us and point out the positive in us and listen to us and validate us and connect with us is only talking to us to correct us. And we need to shift that. And that's where that warm comes in, that W. We really need to work on that so that we have our words being used for connection and not for correction. And once again, we're going to teach you how to do that in this. What over 5 decades of research has shown to bring about the best outcome for kids is that they need to have limits or boundaries that are appropriate and different for their different ages. They need to have consequences for crossing those boundaries or not honoring the limits. And that all of this needs to be done by love. So you can feel very confident moving forward and having your kids be accountable for the choices that they make.